Hello, good afternoon everyone, hello. So this week's edition of The Happy Train is slightly different. So I have Adam joining me today, which is brilliant, so thank you very much Adam for joining me. Unfortunately Tracy couldn't make it today, so Adam has stepped in, and to be honest, Adam probably is a bit more knowledgeable on this subject anyway than Tracy. So today's subject, or this week's topic, which what we've been doing in the Sunflower community, is nutrition. So talk about nutrition, talk about how nutrition affects our mood, our health, and that kind of relationship. So I want to speak about the effects it's had on me and my health and my illness, and also talk to Adam about the effects of an athlete. And you've certainly felt how like nutrition has certainly hindered you, in terms of races and training and things like that, and encouraged sort of I guess injuries and things as well, hasn't it? So so I think the message really from me this week about nutrition, about your diet, is the best advice I can give is to eat mindfully. And what I mean by that is when you're actually eating food, think about, are you hungry, first of all? Am I thirsty? Am I bored? Am I emotionally eating? Am I eating out of habit? Am I hungry? And then when you do eat, think about the nutritional content of what's in front of you, because our bodies are, we need fuel for our bodies. And if you put diesel into a petrol car, you're going to come into problems, and vice versa. And that's the same for us. If we're filling our bodies filled with processed food and maybe like fizzy drinks and stuff, loads of sugar, it's not going to run very well, and it is going to lead to health issues. So I just wanted you to be kind of mindful of that, and mindful, right, when I'm eating, what is the nutritional content of what I'm eating, and what benefits does it have for me? Is it helping my eyes, my heart, my lungs, my hair, my muscles, my bones? Is it helping me in any way, or am I just eating just because I'm hungry and it doesn't really care, I don't care what it is. So by eating mindfully, thinking about that, and then actually pausing so that you're not like shoving everything down as quickly as possible, you're actually tasting your food. So when you start tasting it and you have that feeling of, oh, actually I feel good after this, because how many of us have eaten junk food and then afterwards we feel sluggish and feel bloated and feel quite horrible after, whereas sometimes when we munching on a nice healthy chicken salad or whatever, we actually feel good after it. So having that awareness, that mindful awareness of what food does to us in terms of how we feel after, and what also is doing for our bodies nutritionally. So I had to, I had to find out the hard way the benefits of nutrition with the ill health that I've had to go through. So going back many years ago, I used to suffer with dermatitis and eczema. And the thing that triggered that was dairy. So I had to cut out dairy at that point, and that made a big difference when I did that. And then more recently, with my Graves' disease, which is a chronic autoimmune condition which affects the thyroid, I used diet then to actually get myself well again. So I had to go through a period of time where I cut out dairy, gluten, pork, caffeine, alcohol, and I had to rid myself of all those sort of toxins that my digestive system wasn't really coping with, and combined with kind of eliminating stress and reducing my workload, and that kind of got me onto the right track. So now I do eat those foods and drink alcohol, but I, like 80-90% of the time, I try and be good. I try and avoid that kind of stuff. But I still love to have a glass of wine and a bar of chocolate, and I think it's important that we have those and that they're treats. But obviously if we're having them all the time, our body's just not gonna function very well. If you put in the wrong fuel in your body isn't going to function well. But it's good to recognize the relationship between what you're eating, how your body is physically, how well it is physically, and also your emotions and your mental health, because it all affects it. Like with sugar, you can have these sugar rushes, increase your mood, and then have a slump. So be mindful of that, be mindful of what you're eating, okay? So in terms of Adam, I know Adam's had a lot of obviously experience with nutrition. Nutrition is kind of key for him in terms of keeping him the top of his game and being able to train what he trains. So yours is making sure really that you've got enough fuel in you and you've got the right fuel, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think when I was younger, I used to just be able to eat most stuff, and it was just about, you know, fueling with anything and anything. Like, you wouldn't feel much difference. It would, because yeah, you could just get away with it. But as I got slightly older and started, like, used to have more experience in understanding what my body was telling me. So, like, nowadays, you know, I can tell that I need fluid, I need carbohydrates, I need proteins. My body almost tells me that. Whereas, yeah, previously I'd ignored that and I wouldn't know what my body was trying to tell me. So I'd have good sessions and then I'd have really bad sessions, and then I'd have good races and bad races. So over time I tried to really listen to what my body was telling me and get advice off people that, you know, knew what an athlete needs and can help you out in that sense.
I think where you've had any kind of trouble with nutrition has been underfueling. Am I right in saying that? So I know you've had underfueling issues in training, and obviously when we went to that race, was it last year we went to that race? And Samarin didn't go so well because you started cutting out your you thought you were being good by cutting out the flapjacks, but actually to get the volume of calories you need in a day, you need to actually
and that's the
eat
thing.
those kind of things.
Yeah, so I started cutting out stuff like that, and it put me in a calorie deficit, and went to a race and turned up, was fueling before the race. Some of the circumstances around fueling weren't brilliant at the race venue, but during the race I really must have depleted myself fully, and on the run I had to stop a few times, and I almost thought like I couldn't finish it, but Rhian was shouting to me, you know, get some gels in you, get some gels in you. And so I was trying to trigger my body to think that it has got fuel there, and managed to get around, but I was in a right old state at the end.
But I think with athletes though, a lot of the issue can be underfueling, and we certainly know the health effects it can have on women in particular, and there's a lot of information out there now, isn't there, about that. And I think there's always that pressure as an athlete to be as light as possible.
Yeah, and I did go through that stage when I was a runner. I used to think, oh, I need to be lighter. I run faster, but it actually made it worse because I was weaker going into races, and I might blow up halfway around and things like that. So I kept thinking, no, it can't be right. Just fuel and then see the difference. And now I see other athletes trying to mess around their diet and have less calories and things like that, but in the long run it's not brilliant.
And I think that, you know, no matter what sort of sport you're into, or even like, you know, the rugby players out there, or people that are lifting weights, you know, when you have this like high protein diet because you want to, you know, bulk up and build muscle and maybe not, you know, trim down in terms of fat wise, you know, that does have an effect on your body and on your health. I think it's good for us to be aware of, you know, the consequences of what we're doing, because sometimes we're only focused on the short-term goal, that particular race or that particular, you know, you want to look a certain way, or you know, you want to perform a certain way, you know, in your sport. And I think looking at the long-term benefits, because what you do now is, you know, going to affect you when you're in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s. And sometimes when we're young, we kind of, you know, make silly choices perhaps, and don't think of the consequences. So I think it's nice for people to hear from you and know that actually you've been there and you have sort of
and I still have experiences now where, you know, might mess up my diet a bit. It's not a messing up, it's more of a, you almost feel like you're getting enough calories, but yeah, you obviously aren't if you have an issue out on the bike and you start to, you know, need extra gels and things like that. You're obviously in a slight deficit then, or I always you know, think I'm putting huge amounts, but if I was to look back on a day and think, oh, I did that amount of training, that actually wasn't that much. But I must admit, yeah, I do feel better when, you know, if I have some fruit and stuff like that afterwards, I'm feeling energetic and feeling good. And then, you know, it's not to say you don't have your treats, you need to have your treats because it keeps you insane. I think if you just stay down one road, then it doesn't always help. You need to have that excitement and that extra bit of...
It's about that balance though, isn't it? It's about kind of, you know, 80% of the time doing what's good for your body, putting inside yourself what you need, and then that 20%, you know, having, you know, those little treats that you enjoy. But no, I think it's important as well to kind of recognise, I think, like the time of year and our eating habits at the time of year as well. So certainly with, you know, Adam being on the bike and any other sort of cyclists or triathletes out there, you know, in the summer, you're more likely to be hydrating properly because the weather's good, you know, and taking on board stuff, you know, and even getting out your flapjacks or your bananas or whatever. If you're going out and it's pouring down with rain and it's cold, you're less likely to reach down and be drinking, you know, and hydrating yourself properly. Or if you've got like a carbohydrate drink, you know, actually fueling yourself. Same with, you know, if your hands are freezing cold and are you going to get into your back pocket and actually get out that, you know, that banana or that flapjack?
So
you can...
In that situation, you might want to just stop. If you don't feel like you can do it with cold things and that, get your fuel in, otherwise you're just gonna mess up the following day. And
but it does, you know, how the weather is doing outside, you know, makes us eat and drink differently. Sometimes in the winter, obviously when it's dark outside, you know, it's dark by 4:30, you're shutting the curtains, and that is the time where you could be, you know, snacking and comfort eating and kind of, you know, watching movies and
even when you're out and about as well and it's cold, really cold, then your body's having to work harder. Obviously it works harder in the heat as well, but in the cold you're trying to keep your body warm. So that's the important part of getting in. If you're out doing exercises, getting the calories still in you, because you still are burning a lot. So you're doing your activity, but at the same time you're burning, or your body's burning fuel to keep yourself warm. So...
But it's just being aware of that, isn't it? It's just being aware of, like, what does my body need in terms of how much, you know, carbohydrate, protein, all the different fruits and veg and nutrients, how much does it need? And how I change my eating habits or my drinking habits, because hydration is obviously extremely important as well, dependent on the weather and dependent on your mood, you know. So our mood can make us overeat, our mood can make us undereat. Similarly with, you know, drinking, like in the winter, we tend to drink a lot more caffeinated drinks and hot drinks in the winter to keep us warm, rather than maybe, you know, water and hydrating ourselves properly. So I think the best advice there is just try where possible to kind of change some of your caffeinated drinks for hot water and lemon, or hot water and ginger, or herbal teas, that kind of thing, or just hot water on its own, just to get some proper fluids in you. And obviously with, you know, Christmas coming up as well, you know, most of us are going to be indulging in a lot of rich foods and naughty treats, a lot of alcohol. So being mindful of that, be mindful of, right, actually, I may not feel so great once I've eaten all this stuff. How many times, you know, after Christmas dinner, we all feel a little bit sluggish and full and we all want to go to sleep. So, you know, just think about maybe portion sizes. So rather than just having this big amount, still have your treats, but just, you know, reduce your portion sizes. Or with all the alcohol, make sure you're having plenty of water in between your alcoholic drinks, or soft drinks in between your alcoholic drinks. You don't feel so rubbish, because that come down, you know, the day after you've had a blowout, we can feel really blooming miserable, and that, you know, low feeling can last with us for a couple of days. So given the fact we've got this pandemic happening, and there's a lot of people who are not with loved ones this Christmas, and you know, maybe struggling with everything that's happening, then, you know, being mindful of what you eat and you drink is certainly you know, going to help you. So making those good choices and making sure that, you know, you keep on top of it, because, you know, being healthy and supporting your immune system and trying to be as positive and happy as possible is really, you know, all we can kind of sort of hope for really at the moment. And
don't try and overindulge. You know, you can quite easily do it. Just try and have realize what you've just had. You know, big roast dinner, whatever you're gonna have, and then you're having all your treats afterwards. Just keep it to you know.
Instead of having a box of chocolates, just you know, choose 4 maybe.
Give them to someone else.
Pass them around, share them around. So hopefully this has helped, and hopefully you're having a little think about maybe the choices you're going to make now, sort of over the winter months, because we all just want you to feel good, we all want you to feel happy, and we all want you to sort of come out of this winter period kind of with a smile on your face and not feeling too low or miserable about it. So hopefully our chat has helped you today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully Tracy will be here. Well, you can come back as well, Adam, if you want. The topic next week is all about mindset. So have a great weekend, everyone, and hope you've enjoyed.
Enjoy, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.